Hey everybody! This is Noelle.
And I'm Jenna.
And this is More Than Murder, where we delve into everything eerie with a side of true crime.
More Than Murder is not your typical true crime podcast. Join us on a weekly tour through the haunted, the bloody, the creepy, and the nutty on our Freaky Fridays.
So, tomorrow is Halloween.
Yay!
And it's on a Saturday, which is
best
awesome.
Time of year.
So, happy Halloween to everybody who may be listening to this when it comes out on today, the Freaky Friday, or on Halloween.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, I would save all my Halloween eps for, like, the day of Halloween while I'm getting ready, you know, putting my makeup on.
It's such a weird year, though.
I know. We are not going to a party.
No.
Every year, Jenna and I go to a Halloween party, and we usually do something awesome where we win some sort of award.
And we are together at the crack of dawn, messing her bathroom up completely, getting ready for hours and hours and hours and hours.
Oh, God, it's a
And we still
shindig.
get there at like 10 o'clock.
Yeah,
right?
We're still late.
Everyone's been there for a few hours. They're all toasted, and we're like, hey.
That's how it always works. Even in the days when we would go out to the bar, we would literally get started at like 5 or 6, and the guys would be like, are we leaving at any point? And it was like 9:30, and we had to travel like maybe to Rochester or something. And we're like, we'll get there.
Yeah, we'll get there. At least we look nice.
I know.
Gotta look nice for that hour and a half.
Exactly.
Because then we always want to leave because it's late, and we're just like, let's just go.
Or it's lame, or we're hungry, or whatever.
Whatever, yes.
Hunger takes place.
Very different year this year, but, you know, still celebrate, still go out there, have a good time. And I'll be home watching scary movies.
Yes, and be safe. And check your candy.
That's funny that you say that, because later on we're going to get into that very deeply.
Yeah, so today's episode is going to be a little different than all of our other episodes because I will have one half and Jenna will have the other half. We're going to tell 2 spooky stories. So hold on to your butts.
You truly get us both today.
Yes. I'm going to start with my portion, and I'm covering the Harry Houdini Seances. Now, before I get into what that is, I'm going to talk about a brief history of, like, Harry Houdini, because it's kind of important to see why the Houdini Seances take place and all that.
I agree.
Harry Houdini was born on March 24th in 1874. He was one of 7 children. There was only 1 girl and 6 boys.
No.
I know.
No,
poor little thing. He was actually born in Budapest, Hungary, which I didn't know.
I didn't know that. I mean, it kind of makes sense. I've watched things on Houdini, too, and I didn't know that.
Yeah, I did not know that. His birth name was, sorry, I might mispronounce this because it's Hungarian, but it's Eric, what would be pronounced Weiss, which is like W-E-I-S-Z.
Okay.
And then they immigrated to Appleton, Wisconsin when he was 4, which is where...
a big leap.
Yeah, right. That's when the spelling of his name was slightly changed upon arrival to E-H-R-I-C-H, Eric, and then W-E-I-S-S.
Okay, yeah, like a Weiss.
Weiss,
yes.
Yeah. His nickname actually used to be Airy from Eric with the way it was spelled, so it was E-H-R-I-E, which sounds a lot like Harry.
Yeah.
Which is where he actually ends up getting Harry Houdini from.
Look at him.
Yeah, he had all sorts of different names throughout his life. So he and his dad moved to New York City when he was only 13. It was something about how they moved there to start making money and obtain... I think they lived in a shelter, he and his dad, until the rest of his family was able to come to New York as well, because as you know, he's got 6 other siblings, and they're still in Wisconsin with his mother. So they eventually do come to New York. In 1895, when Harry was 17, this is apparently when he wanted to be a magician and officially changed his name to Harry Houdini.
Okay. I don't know if you know, was that like something popular? Like magicians?
So he and his younger brother Theodore, which he would be called Theo, Hardeen was his last name, would perform small magic sideshows in the beginning. Mm-hmm. And I guess Theo started practicing at being a magician back when they lived in Europe. he and Theo would do things in Europe, and then he would get interested in it because of that.
Yeah.
Then they moved to Wisconsin, and Harry would do little 5-cent circuses with his friends before they moved to New York.
Okay.
And then when they did move to New York is when he and Theo started doing their actual shows. During the time of performing in sideshows and like music halls is when Harry was able to practice and hone his skills, of course, with handcuffs. He was known as the escape artist.
Escapist, yeah.
You know, he escaped everything and anything. Sometimes with really close calls. Sometimes there was like really wacky things that would happen in some of his shows, which I don't talk about his shows because there is a lot of escape acts that he did, and this would take up the whole Halloween episode if I were to go into all that. That's what started bringing attention to him, was the escaping of the handcuffs in the sideshows that he and his brother would perform. Shortly after, in 1893, Houdini married Wilhelmina Beatrice Rayner, or Rayner. She was born in 1875, so only a year after Houdini. She was also known for her stage name as Beatrice Bess Houdini. So most of the time I refer to her as Bess. Yeah. She would act as his assistant for the rest of their lives together, and she would eventually replace his brother Theo in the show.
Aw, I like that.
Yeah, they're forever doing magic shows together.
Oh, yes.
Yep. With Houdini's mastery at escaping handcuffs, he was finally spotted. Like, finally, because it took a while. Like you said, it wasn't quite as popular then. It was just gaining popularity and all that. He was finally spotted by a theater manager while he was performing his escapes, and Harry ended up, because of this manager, performing at major vaudeville locales across the country, which is pretty awesome.
Yeah, building a huge name for himself.
Yeah, absolutely, especially with vaudeville. After that, Houdini and Bess moved over to England and performed there and in Germany for a few years, where he was able to practice other escape things, and he actually became the most well-known magician in Germany at the time because he was able to do these things that nobody else could.
Imagine though, like being at a show like that and watching this man, like you don't know if he's gonna make it, and like it's high stakes.
Yeah,
it is high stakes.
Yeah, I mean, technology was not, then what it is now for fail safes or anything like that.
Exactly. Yeah, old rickety locks. Like,
yeah, heavy duty rusty chains.
No, thank you. Nope. I have too much anxiety anyway. I would be freaking out.
Oh, yeah.
I'd be like, he's not going to make it. He's not going to make it. He's not going to make it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Moira levels of freak out.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. After they performed in Germany, I think it was like maybe 5 years, they moved back over the pond to Connecticut, where they lived for a really long time. He would continue to amaze people everywhere with his outlandish tricks and escapes until the day he died. He and Bess were, like I said, still performing together. In 1913, his mom had passed away, and it sparked his interest in the supernatural and trying to contact his mother from beyond, because at this time, we're dealing with, like, just the beginning of the spiritualist movement and psychic mediums, like the Fox sisters parading about the streets and they're showing their talents everywhere. And yeah, so after failing multiple times at contacting his mother through these psychic mediums, he just began to think that all of them were fraudulent and wanted to totally debunk every single psychic medium, self-proclaimed, that there was. And so it was kind of like his life mission at this point to do that. He was part of a scientific group, and he was also part of like some magicians group, and both of them were trying to debunk these people. Because I guess he probably felt really insulted or maybe kind of foolish at the time if it wasn't working for him, that he would even try to go to this length to talk to his mom.
And think of frauds, like how they're taking advantage of like people's pain. Like, it's
yeah,
not
exactly.
cool if you're a fraud doing that. Like,
right,
taking people's money to tell them things that are just fake.
Exactly, and I'm one of those false
hope. Yeah,
I'm one of those people that I believe and know there are real psychic mediums, but I'm very aware that frauds will be abundant in any avenue where they can insert themselves
and make
easily.
Yeah, it's down to the buck.
Fake it till you make it. That's one of the sayings. So, I mean...
yeah.
So he even set a sizable prize for anybody that could prove that they could possess or any sort of paranormal power. Because he's a magician. I mean, he probably not only does he want to disprove it, but I feel like deep down he's kind of really interested in it. It's another form of magic. You know, if it were true, he would probably be like, holy crap, this is awesome.
Exactly.
You know, I'm performing magic, but this is something completely different. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, despite all this, because it was also another way to prove whether or not you could contact people in the afterlife, he promised his wife, Bess, that after he dies, if he were to die first, he would attempt to contact her from the other side. So he and Bess came up with a code that they would be able to recognize and decipher if it was him that came through.
I'm totally doing that.
Right?
I'm 110% doing that.
I know. Like
whoever goes first or whatever.
This is the code.
And Sean and I, or even me and you, are going to do that.
Right, exactly.
Yeah. Totally.
The code will be 2 P's.
Yes. Morning murder.
Yeah, right? That'll
just whisper that in your ear while you're sleeping in the nursing home.
And I'll be like, Jenna.
And they'll be like, this lady's senile.
Yeah. No, don't take me from here. So I guess the code was supposed to spell out Rosabelle. I'm not really sure why. I didn't really get a whole bunch of deep. I tried to put that with like her name and stuff, but I didn't really get
it's probably something deep that meant something to them that they didn't
some sort of inside thing.
I'm not going to tell people
exactly
what the code's going to be.
Exactly.
People can...
they're going to pretend that they're him. Obviously, frauds, like we said, anything to make a buck. Because I'm sure at some point, Bess put out some sort of like, she probably kept the prize going if Houdini contacts you or whatever.
Yes.
You know.
Call me up. I'll give you money.
Yeah.
We can talk.
So in 1926, while Houdini was backstage getting ready for a show, 2 fans, and apparently like students of a university nearby to the show, came to see him. Apparently one of the things that Houdini used to tout was that he could take a gut punch like no other.
I've heard that. I've heard that.
As long as he could brace himself before.
Yes, there's something behind it where I watched something where they did they broke down the science behind how this dude could literally take huge beatings to the belly.
To the gut.
It's crazy.
Yeah, so I was like, okay, kind of random and strange, but we're going with it. So the fans knew he claimed he could be punched in the gut pretty hard as long as he braced for it. The fan immediately, without allowing Houdini to brace himself,
oh my gosh,
gut punched him 4 times without any abdominals protecting your guts or anything. I mean, bow, 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 bow. And Houdini was in excruciating pain. He still went on to do his show that night.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so he still went on to do that show that night, and I guess he was in that same pain for the next couple of days without medical attention.
Probably something internal got bruised.
Yeah, and his wife is pissed that he's not going to see the doctor.
Men. That is men.
She keeps telling him Harry, honey, you need to go to the doctor. And he's just not going.
No.
So he still attempted to perform at his next show, which was literally 3 or 4 days after the fact of this happening, despite the pain and the fact that literally he finally did relent and go and see a doctor just before the show. And the doctor told him that he had acute appendicitis and a fever of 102. During the show, fever climbed to 104.
So why is he still doing shows? Stop!
Obviously he's very ill because of what just happened.
Yeah.
So he stopped the performance in the 3rd act, went to the hospital to have his appendix removed to appease his wife and her growing concerns.
Oh, jeez. Not to save his life or anything.
No. The doctors found the appendix already ruptured.
Oh, yeah.
So they removed whatever was left, and they were not sure how great his chances for survival would be after the surgery, because literally this is in 1926. So.
Oh, dude, it happened to me in 1990, and I almost died.
Yeah. It's not something to just ignore and keep performing through.
By that time, they have medical things that they can do for me that back then, probably not as much.
Yeah. So apparently what had happened was the punches, there was a medical term that I had seen, and then it went away, and I looked for it again, and I couldn't find it. But it caused this thing to happen that had led to the appendicitis, because the punches created something that led to the appendicitis.
So he didn't already have an appendicitis, and then they blew, and then Ruptured? Okay.
No, it literally was this, they caused something to happen.
It
when
led to the appendicitis.
Right. And the appendicitis,
gosh.
it was just, the gut punches were so hard, and like that, straight to the appendix, that eventually, like, it didn't take that long for it to mutate into acute appendicitis and explode.
It works fast too. Like when it goes from 0 to 100, like you're sick. I puked in a pool when I was young.
Yeah.
My sister doesn't let me live that down.
That's awful.
Kayla.
Yeah, jeez.
Yeah, we were going to get a pool and we were all excited and you puked and we had to leave. Yeah, sorry, my appendix was ruptured inside of me.
Yeah, sorry I was dying.
Yeah, right?
Excuse me while I'm puking and dying.
And
sorry about the pool.
They don't know what's wrong with me, a little 2-year-old girl.
Aww. Oh my gosh. Alright, so in 1926, on October 31st.
Okay.
Yes, Halloween. Harry Houdini passed away from his ruptured appendix. He died on Halloween.
Oh my gosh.
Now, there is a bit of controversy to this, so I figured I'd mention it while I don't believe this theory that much.
Okay, but you're going to put it out there.
Yeah, because it is out there. While it's not contested that he did die from a ruptured appendix and appendicitis, some people believe that it was actually spiritualists trying to poison him for constantly claiming that they're all frauds and trying to slander them all.
Huh.
And that's what led to the appendicitis. I'm just going to go with the gut punches because there's literally no other evidence to point to that.
No.
You would think that since they did probably an autopsy on Harry Houdini, then they would have found the poison.
Yeah, I don't... Also, like, this man wants to disprove you anyway, so why send him into that plane? So he can disprove you even more?
Yeah.
When you can't connect with him?
I'm not really sure about that.
I don't know either.
So, that was Harry's life. That's how Harry died. Kind of a shitty way to go, really.
Well, that's a blow to the gut.
Yeah, right.
That was a low joke.
Dad jokes.
I got a whole ton of them.
So I'm going to segue into what follows, which are the Houdini seances.
Yes.
Following her husband's death, Bess decides to start having seances every single Halloween, the anniversary of his death, to try to contact her beloved Harry. Because she's like, I've got this code. I mean, people are doing this everywhere. I am going to try to talk to him. The seances will usually consist of about 8 to 12 to maybe 9 to 13 people right around there, around a table, as usual, holding hands, while the medium conducts the seance. Bess tried to contact Houdini for 10 years with no luck of ever hearing the code that they both agreed on. In 1928, there was a medium, quote unquote, named Arthur Ford, who apparently I did see a quote where they called him the Reverend. Kimmy Schmidt vibes there.
Totally, dude.
He claimed to have received the code or a code from Harry, and Bess even believed him. But she wasn't an investigator. She didn't go over and investigate any of it. She just listened to what he said and took it at face value.
Yeah.
However, an investigator from the New York Evening Graphic was able to expose Ford's fraudulent efforts to pretty much just get money from Bess, as she was a vulnerable widow.
Oh.
So that was not correct.
She would be more...
I think that, that was 2 years after Harry died.
She just really wanted to.
So, right, like he said, she was a very vulnerable widow at that point. She was probably, maybe, mildly depressed at that point. And
stop being garbage.
Jeez.
Don't do that stuff.
If you want to be garbage, just take yourself out to the trash.
Yeah, do that.
The very last Houdini seance put on by his wife was, like I said, 10 years after his death, and that was in 1936. However, even though Bess ended the seances, the love of his fans is never ending and undying, and his fans have continued to practice the Houdini seances on Halloween every single year to this day.
We're doing that.
That
is a social distance thing that we can do inside on Halloween.
I don't know, though. We're going to have
seance.
I don't know. You got to have other people holding hands.
I know. That is true.
Sucks.
Although, I don't know.
We could do it just ourselves.
We need to look it up and,
So even his oldest and possibly, arguably, his biggest fan Sid Radner, who at the time of this article I was reading in 2010 was 90 years old. He actually was the owner of the trademark of the official Houdini seance and was also an owner of one of the largest collection of Houdini's things from his personal residence that were auctioned off after he had passed. Radner said he began doing the seances in the 1930s. I almost wonder sometimes, it did not say so in the article, but I was wondering if maybe he had known Bess, like since he was such a huge fan, maybe he had gone to meet Bess and maybe participated in one of her seances.
Maybe.
That would have been pretty cool.
I got chills. I don't know why, but like
they're multiplying.
I just got some chills.
He claimed that there were some interesting happenings during some of the seances in which he participated. To quote Sid in an article written by NPR, this is what he once said. One time, the medium asked for Houdini to make his presence known, and a gal standing around, her beads broke and fell on the floor. Another time, a book fell down off a shelf. We had some strange things happen. While he doesn't know if it was Houdini himself, who knows? I mean, it could have even been Bess.
Yeah, it could have been any spirit. Like, if you're channeling, it could really be anybody.
Yep. I was able to locate an article that was done by the New York Times in 2011, so just a year after that article I read previously, that said that Sid had passed away from cancer at 91. So rest in peace, Sid. Thank you for your unending quest to contact Houdini, and I hope that you were able to meet him and Bess in another realm.
Yes. Did it say what he did with the collection?
No.
Oh my gosh.
I'd imagine
sure there's probably like a museum somewhere that it got like, donated
It either got turned into a museum, or maybe he had plans of like auctioning it to other museums.
Yes, but it's probably in a safe
place. Yeah. So, like I said, the Houdini seances do take place today. From my research, I found a couple places in 2020 doing the seances and even how to participate during these wonderful COVID times.
Virtual seance. Mm-hmm. Imagine it.
So, Chicago was going to be having a psychic medium guy come, and it was something you could actually go to at first, and he was going to conduct the seance. But that is now, I believe, just virtual. I'm not positive, but I do believe it is a virtual event now. And that is taking place this year on Halloween. And then there is one going on in the Pocono Mountains as well. Oh. And I'll link out to the site of the one in Chicago. I even put in here, maybe we can gather some folks and do our own Houdini seance this Halloween.
I mean, yeah. As
people like to say, if anyone could have escaped the beyond in any way, can't stand it. If anyone could escape the beyond in any way, it would have to be Harry Houdini.
Oh, yeah.
So, awesome. I just thought that was really awesome. It was something I hadn't actually ever even heard of.
Yeah, I think that is just, what a cool story.
Yeah. So that was pretty cool. I like this Halloween episode thing where we can, like, split it half and half.
Yeah, I agree.
Because now it's your turn and we get to hear a completely different story in the same episode.
And it's gonna get a little sad.
Okay.
There are some sad nuggets up in my case. And we're going into the true crime specter here.
Okay, like we said, you get a little bit of everything.
That is what we like to do. So, Noelle.
Yes, Jenna.
You remember growing up back in the 90s and early aughts, and like right before Halloween when spooky season started, you'd always see a commercial and a PSA about checking your candy?
Oh, yeah.
Parents were terrified that someone tried to put poison or like a razor blade in your Snickers.
Yeah, we still check candy these days.
Yeah, it's on. I can remember the grainy old footage of, a little kid trick-or-treating and, their candy's open and there's like a syringe sticking out of it.
My memory sucks because I don't remember that
vividly. I can remember vividly. And that happened for real once.
I think I have heard this. But tell me more.
Okay. We start out October 31st of 1974. Obvi Halloween night.
Showing?
For the O'Brien family in Deer Park, Texas. Now, I want to put a little disclaimer in here because I did see some sources said Deer Park, Texas. Some said Pasadena, Texas.
It's so strange.
It's so strange. But I saw more for Deer Park, Texas, so...
Because this is like high
profile. I'm going with it.
Yeah, okay.
But it was a normal Halloween night. Ronald was setting out to take his two children, Elizabeth, 5, and Timothy, 8, trick-or-treating, also accompanied by a neighbor and his 2 children. So it's a bigger group.
Okay. He looks like a winner.
So they walk through the neighborhood, knocking on doors, collecting all the candy. Pretty standard Halloween stuff. Now, remember also the rule of you only go to houses that are well lit.
Yeah, if
they
you have your light
a porch light on, right?
That means that you're open for business.
Yes.
If you don't have your porch light on, then they don't want to give you candy.
Exactly. So a funny little anecdote, my grandparents always had their light off. Mm-hmm. Always. I always remember I was always like, oh, I can't go to my grandparents' house trick-or-treating, and I was always sad. They were like 85, 90 years old. Yeah. So they were sleeping by the time we were trick-or-treating, but their light was always off. You always honored. Don't knock on a door where their lights are off.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, this group walks up to an ill-lit house, quite dark, and they knock. They're so eager to get all the candy, they don't care. They're knocking and they're knocking and they're knocking. When the knocks are unanswered, the neighbor with the kids proceeds to the next house. So all the kids and the neighbor, they keep going on, but for some reason, Ronald stays behind.
Okay.
He thinks maybe, he's going to get an answer. He doesn't want to miss out on his kids' candy.
Jeez.
Right?
Like leave the house alone, weirdo.
Pushy.
Yeah.
Pushy. So...
And honestly, I wouldn't want to see this guy lingering outside my unlit house after I did not answer the door.
The fact that, the light is off.
Yeah.
Obviously, they're not home, or they're sleeping, or they just don't want to buy candy and give it to your kids. I'm sorry. It happens.
There's plenty to go around everywhere else.
Exactly. So, later, when O'Brien rejoined the group, he had 5 21-inch pixie sticks, which he claimed came from the ill-lit house. Oh, a man answered.
Wow.
Yeah.
Poor people.
Good thing, that he stayed behind, right? Mm-hmm. The sticks were distributed to all of the kids, and then there was one left over because there were 4 kids. So keep that one in mind.
Okay.
After the Halloween festivities, the group starts walking back home for the night. I read that it was like a super rainy night, so they really only got a couple of streets done. It wasn't like... a long night where you went to every single street and every single house. It was raining, miserable. They kind of went home early. Mm-hmm. So as they're walking home, O'Brien sees a 10-year-old boy that he recognizes from his church. So he's like, hey, I have this extra pixie stick. Here you go. You want it? So I want you to flash back to Halloween, of course, again, when you were a kid. What did you want to do? Eat candy.
Eat the candy.
You wanted to eat candy.
Yeah.
I mean, to be honest, I was always snacking as I went through. Like, I got a Reese's cup. I love Reese's cup. I'm going to eat this Reese's cup as I'm walking to the next house.
I never did that. I was terrified of having stuff in my candy.
I wasn't. Like, if it was visibly open, I'm not going to eat that.
Yeah.
I didn't eat the apples that people gave out. Mm-hmm. Things like that. But, like, if it was a closed candy bar and I could see that it was fine, I'm eating it. So... O'Brien, they get home, and Timothy, his son, is pleading with his dad to let him have candy. He's like, come on, please, let me have candy. His father caved and told him he can have 1 piece. Only 1 piece. The chosen candy was the pixie stick.
Of course.
Which, first of all, right before bed,
do not
have a whole thing of sugar. Like, no.
It's literally nothing but sugar.
I'm not even a parent, and, like, no. You can have 1 M&M, dude. Like, you're not going to sleep anyway because it's Halloween night. You're not having this huge thing of sugar.
No. No way.
No. And it's 21 inches long. It's like
it's one of the giant ones.
Giant pixie sticks.
Yeah.
So Timothy goes to eat the pixie stick, and he's actually having a really hard time getting the candy out.
Because it's sticky.
It's clumped, yeah. So he's, like, trying, and he's, doing it. So his dad comes over, being a good dad, and, helps him, helps little Timmy pour the sugar into his mouth. Now, Timothy said that the taste was very bitter. He's like, I don't like this. This tastes very bitter. Mm-hmm. So Dad gave him a glass of Kool-Aid to wash it down, but didn't seem concerned. Quickly after consuming this pixie stick, Timothy runs to the bathroom and starts vomiting. He's complaining of a stomach ache, he's cramping, and his father kind of, rushes into action, and they start driving towards the hospital. Unfortunately, Timothy O'Brien passed away en route. Mm-hmm. He never made it to the hospital.
Poor Timmy.
Poor Timmy. Just Halloween night. He was probably so excited getting into his costume, getting his candy.
He just wanted to eat the pixie stick.
Yep. So After that, they did conduct an autopsy, and they discovered that his cause of death was due to cyanide poisoning.
So the clumpy pixie stick prevails.
Yes.
So everybody, it might not just be humidity that makes your sugar in your pixie stick all clumpy.
No.
So watch out. Sniff it. If it tastes funky, get rid of it.
Yeah, you sniff that pixie stick.
Yeah, sniff the... Not too hard. Do not sniff the pixie stick too hard.
Just don't sniff your pixie stick. Don't eat pixie sticks. Just don't eat them, please.
Go for the fun dip instead.
Oh, fun dip. That's my shit.
Yeah,
I love a good fun dip. Breaking your tooth on that big old piece of sugar.
And they gotta suck on it, though. Like, make it moist. There you go for Halloween.
Sniff it and suck it over here. What are we doing?
Anybody who hates that word for Halloween, moist.
That is your ASMR for the episode.
Moist.
We'll come at you next week with some more, I'm sure. Oh my gosh. So, okay, back to the sad.
Yeah, because it is sad.
Yes.
It is really sad.
Yes. But sometimes you have to, lighten it up
Yeah.
because if you don't, you're literally going to go insane.
Oh my god, yeah.
And I've been researching a lot of this for my whole life.
Yeah.
And you gotta have some humor in there.
And especially, I have a small child, so sometimes the children ones are especially hard to listen to because it's like, oh my god.
Especially, you have a picture of this adorable little boy right in front of you.
At me, and
it's
I know that he's not around. It's awful.
Awful.
It's terrible.
So it's gonna get worse.
Scroll up here.
It's gonna get worse. So now, after the autopsy, the police start to put together, that the pixie stick might be the problem. And of course, since it's poisoning, the police are now involved, obviously. Mm-hmm. So they realize that Timothy's dosage, like the cyanide that was in his pixie stick that he consumed, was enough to kill 2 adults.
Oh my god, no wonder why it happened, literally, it seemed like instantly.
So quick, yes.
Yeah, his stomach was like, this is not right, get this shit out of me.
Well, I think, and I could be wrong, and I'm sorry if I am wrong, but I think that I've seen somewhere that, little doses will just make you, sick over time. It's not going to kill you right away.
Yeah, it's one that you can constantly poison people with.
They can keep you
What's
down.
the one with the little girl was poisoned with in Signs? Or was it something else?
Fuck.
Or was it arsenic or something? I don't know.
Dude,
not Signs. You know what I was talking about.
I don't, because I thought you were talking about Signs, and I was about to say I haven't seen Signs.
No, she wasn't poisoned in Signs. I meant, I See Dead People.
The Sixth Sense.
Yes, thank you. See, that's why I said Signs.
Sorry, I gotta do this.
Yes.
Okay,
that little girl that was poisoned. I thought that her mom was poisoning her with
and arsenic is a very common one used as well. I'm sure in all of this we will come to know more about.
Oh yeah.
But he was given a lot.
I just don't need my Google searches to be flagging anybody for looking up cyanide poisoning and arsenic poisoning, and probably already on the watch list because of it.
Dude, for real. Yeah, I'm no. They've been looking at my computer since I was 12 years old, looking up all this crap. So they decide that they need to act quick because they hear there are 4 other pixie sticks floating around. That is terrifying.
They're too late.
And
I feel like
they're not.
Oh my god, thank God.
They are not. So his sister got one, so obviously once
she
the
did
brother
not eat
reacts,
hers. Yeah.
Bye-bye. The 2 neighborhood kids, they were able to call them and be like, yo, throw those pixie sticks away. They're super poisoned.
Okay, thankfully.
The only close call was the 10-year-old boy from church.
Because nobody had his phone number, probably. Or
so
whatever.
they did call the parents, and what I read was the parents freaked out. They ran around the house looking for this pixie stick. They looked in his candy. They couldn't find it. They're freaking out. They walk in, and it's it's next to him, and he's asleep. He couldn't get the staples open.
Oh my god. If I saw that the stick was next to him and I would have been like, is he dead? I'd have been rushing over to check him.
So it's oh my god. So,
yeah, but no, thankfully those staples.
Yes,
oh my god, the staples saved his life.
The staples literally saved his life.
So sometimes when we're complaining about, how hard it is to get packages open,
thank the Lord.
Sometimes it's best. Sometimes it's just fuck this, I can't open it, I'm tossing it out.
So they collected all of them. They tested them. They were all full of cyanide.
Poison. Wow.
And some of the other ones were like high enough dosages to kill 3 to 4 adults.
Oh my
Like
God.
the amounts that are in here are absolutely like, whoever did this did not do their research on dosing.
Or they didn't care. They just wanted to make sure whoever it was dead.
Yeah.
Like,
so
dead.
how this person did it was they bought the pixie sticks, they opened it, basically poured out some of the sugar and replaced the top bit. So even if they didn't finish this pixie stick, they're gonna get a mortal dosage. So so after the person put the cyanide in, they stapled it shut, and then bam, distribution time. The entire area was freaking the fuck out when they heard about the death of this little boy, because their kids had just been out trick-or-treating. No one knows what, I don't think they released the candy yet, so they don't know what kind of candy it was in or what exactly happened.
Yeah, I mean, they don't, even
or if their kid got it or what house it came from or anything like that.
Yeah, and even if they knew what kind of candy, is it in other candy too?
Exactly.
Did my kid already eat the pixie stick because I don't see him having any? Like,
yep.
So yeah.
And, the police actually, launched their investigation trying to figure it out. Obviously, they go to Ronald O'Brien, the boy's dad, and ask him where they got the pixie sticks from. They want to try and narrow down the area. He obviously doesn't remember.
You would think that this house, which was very significant, he had to wait and wait.
That's what I was...
The light was off. He had to wait so long until apparently, which nobody saw because everybody left, apparently the people eventually opened the door. Which we don't know if that's true or not.
It gets even more suspicious.
And he doesn't remember that at all.
He does not remember.
Right.
The police start to get a little suspicious because on Halloween night, like I said, they only went down a few streets. I can get it if you're going through a city and you went through 1,000 houses. I can kind of understand.
Well, no, I still wouldn't, because this house was significant. The light was off. He waited and waited and waited to where everybody else moved on to the next house.
Yeah, but cops don't know about that.
Well, no, I know, but
I agree. No, I agree. And that's why they start to get suspicious, because it's not adding up.
Don't be suspicious.
So, suspicions grew. Police found out that none of the houses that they stopped at gave out pixie sticks. No one's giving them out. It's quite a unique candy too. It's not something that you give out all the time. It's not like your Reese's and your Snickers and
it doesn't come in
your fun size things that you
it doesn't come in one of those big bulk packs.
No, at least
you have to
not
buy
now. I don't know if maybe it was a huge thing back then, but no one was giving them out.
You would literally have to buy just a pack of pixie sticks.
Yeah, exactly. And who does that? Weirdos.
Or bulk big, because the big ones, you can't even buy packs of the big ones. You have to buy those separately.
No, and I don't think I've seen a huge pixie stick since I was
No, they still have them.
Do they?
Yeah, I see them if you go to candy stores and stuff, they'll have them.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
I don't go to candy stores.
But, they still have the big pixie sticks.
I believe it. You know what? I might want a pixie stick now. I've fucking said the word pixie stick
Just get a fun dip and call it a day. It's the same thing, except it's got other sugar you
You're
dip
right.
into the
Maybe
sugar.
I'll get a baby bottle pop. So, police accompanied by O'Brien walk through the neighborhood 3 times. He's like, I don't remember where this came from. Nothing is jogging my memory. It was not until the last time that O'Brien took them to the dark house, the one where the kids knocked, but no answer came. So O'Brien claimed that after many unanswered knocks, he was like, I'll try one last time. Why not? And this time, the door opened, but just a sliver. And the only thing that popped out was an arm with 5 giant pixie sticks. The police, of course, asked for identifying marks, how did this person look? What, but he's like, I only saw an arm. He said it was a hairy arm. That narrows things down, right?
Right.
So very helpful. Obviously, police now having the location, they can start to narrow down who lives at that location. Obviously, the father is like, I went here, this is where I got them, I remember now.
Yeah.
Aha. So police start digging. I'm not going to give the occupant's name. It was given in the reading, but I'm not going to mention it here. So I just call him the homeowner.
Okay.
So after they start digging, they realize that there was a reason the house was dark. There was no one home. The homeowner was at work at the airport until 11 p.m., and this was corroborated by 200 airport employees. Okay. He was on the clock. He was not home. Halloween night trick-or-treating ends at what? Most areas is 9, 10 o'clock.
Not even nowadays. It's like 6 to 8 p.m.
Oh, yeah.
But
It starts super early now. Yeah,
so back then it probably was like 10.
So no one was there. This man was at work. Who knows his commute? He might not have even been home until...
why his light was effing off.
Yeah.
So leave it alone.
Leave people's houses alone. Stop knocking at the door. So right then, police change course and start really honing in on Ronald O'Brien.
Yeah, absolutely.
Absolutely. Duh. Obviously.
Well, also, they should have gotten a little bit of a more of a suspicion was when they went around the block 3 times. And he
just couldn't remember, like, where he got it. Like,
well, no, he didn't even, it sounds like he didn't even take them to that house until the very last time.
Yeah, oh yeah, 100%.
So, like, why would he leave this house out every single time?
Yep.
And then bring it up. So that would have been suspicious to me.
I can speculate, and this is just speculation because I don't know for a fact. I have a feeling the police always kind of thought it was him because of the way that he acted, the way that he couldn't remember.
Well, they didn't act like it.
Like...
They didn't seem like they I mean, underlying minor, yeah, but it was like...
But you also...
They ignored all these super weird things.
I know, but there are steps to an investigation, so they're going to try and narrow it down the best way to have the best case.
Well, yeah, but you still have multiple suspects
I think
in many cases.
I think he was questionable, but I don't think they wanted to do that right off the bat because then he kind of shuts down, and if he isn't the guy, you know what I mean?
Yeah, but no, at the same time.
You just gotta... sometimes you don't know. One thing was that O'Brien was $100,000 in debt, and they found out that he was not very good at holding down a job.
Okay.
He was facing repossession.
That's a lot of money.
Yeah, a lot of money.
Like, what did he do in that time to make himself in that much debt? Yeah.
Well, think of, like, owning a house. Mm-hmm. Any asset you own is your debt.
Oh, yeah, true.
So, like, if he had a nicer house, a car, he was facing repossession, foreclosure, and he defaulted on multiple bank loans. So this dude was just, like, taking out, like, loans and buying things and then probably not paying towards it. Yeah. So police also discover life insurance policies taken out for both of his children.
Wow. What a piece of...
$10,000 each. So these were taken out at the beginning of 1974, like right in January. So only like 7-8 months before Halloween.
Well enough time to plot.
Mm-hmm. But another point that makes it so questionable was a month before Halloween, he added $20,000 each to their life insurance policy.
Jesus.
Uh-huh. Pretty suspect.
That's awful.
That is super suspect if you ask me. I mean, people take out life insurance on their children. I'm not saying that is 100% suspicious, but like when he did it, the amount of debt that he was in, the fact that he added to it, like,
and then the fact that one of the children died.
It's so premeditated.
Yeah, absolutely.
It feels so premeditated. Police also stated that they found record of a phone call which O'Brien had made the morning after his son's death to said insurance company.
They always do that.
Mm-hmm.
Why? Do they make it seem like such a fucking priority if they don't want to get caught?
I think
seriously,
the hardest thing for me to think about is like we don't know, like they say on other, true crime shows, we don't know how you'd act in that situation. So maybe he's more of like an analytical person who's like, okay, my son just died. We have a funeral. We have this. We have that. We have medical bills. Like, I don't want to say, like, it makes him sound suspicious, but I don't also want to say like condemn him because I don't know how I would act in that situation. Well, some people cry and they're down, and some people act.
Well, considering he planned everything out for that long, you would think that he would have been smarter about, like, going about the whole...
And, like,
that's
when
just
he
the thing. Like, I don't understand why they all jump the next day or that day. Oh, life insurance. You're an idiot. Like, back off, show them that you're grieving or whatever, and then go for it.
Especially if you did it, like...
Yeah, just hold on, you idiot.
But you never know. You just never know. So, with all of this, the police came up with this theory. They thought that O'Brien laced the Pixie Sticks himself. The hope was that both children would eat the candy and he could collect the $60,000. Investigators also speculated that the other 4 Pixie Sticks, like why make more if you only want to kill 2 kids, was to cover up his crime. Because if more kids are dying, they're not automatically going to jump to the kid's dad. They're going to look at other avenues.
That's so messed up.
I know, right? You were going to take out 4 other children.
Yeah.
That, like, what?
Yeah. That's
just so you can
messed
collect
up.
$60,000. That's not even going to get you out of debt, bro.
I know.
Calm
How
the
ridiculous.
fuck down.
So it makes no sense. There's no point.
Exactly. It just makes no sense. So O'Brien maintained his innocence while being questioned by police. They officially arrested him on November 5th of 1974. He was indicted on 1 count of capital murder and 4 counts of attempted murder.
Now, what is the definition of capital murder for our listeners?
It means that you have the death penalty on your head.
Okay.
You will die if you are convicted of this murder crime.
Okay.
So we're going to jump to his trial and conviction, which happened in May of 1975. So why the fuck do they drag out trials so long?
You know, it's a huge waste of money.
Like
and
they're
all the
keeping
other
him. Yeah. Like this happened in...
Some of these things go on for like 8 years.
It was well over a year before his trial even began. He was arrested November 5th of 1974. Well, no, I guess...
Well, on some of the other...
It's like 6 months, though. Like, just...
Yeah, on some of the other detective podcasts I listen to, the detectives actually say, like, we didn't get the trial until 2 years after. And I'm like, are you kidding me? So that person is literally in jail until their trial. Which
and like,
is a whole other thing.
I remember I was a huge fan of HLN when we had like the cable system, and I would watch straight coverage of the Casey Anthony trial. That trial lasted for fucking ever.
Yeah, I know.
And she's just like, you know, like it takes a while for them to get started, and then also big cases take a while to try.
I know.
Like it's a huge thing.
It really is.
So obviously O'Brien pled not guilty.
Of course.
The prosecution brought a lot to the table. They said a chemist friend of O'Brien had testified, and in the summer of 73, O'Brien started asking him all sorts of questions about cyanide.
Ah, so he was his Google.
And about lethal doses.
Of course.
So that is a tick in the suspicious category.
I wouldn't even have answered those questions. Like, what random thing? Like, why? I would have been like, why? Why do you want to know?
Dude, it gets even worse because his coworkers testify that he like became obsessed, and he would like mention it and bring it up in conversation and be like, oh, did you know that da-da-da doses could kill a human? Like, he literally would just, and I feel like I do that stuff too.
No, that's like weird. Like,
yeah, but I get weirdly satisfied with kind of stuff like that. Like, I find like morbid things interesting. Right, and then I share morbid things.
People know that you're into that type of stuff.
No, I know.
This was just randomly. He started one day,
very random,
being obsessed with cyanide.
I'm just saying, like, don't think that I'm like weird. I'm not weird, guys.
I mean, we are weird. Well, just not that kind of weird.
But I'm not going to do this.
No, not that kind of weird.
Their pixie sticks are safe with me.
There are different degrees of weird.
So he is just obsessed with cyanide. He's mentioning it all the time. They could never pinpoint a purchase, though.
Huh.
They never found any purchase documentation that he actually procured the cyanide. They never found the cyanide on him. Nothing of that sort.
Maybe his chemist friend.
Who knows? Who knows?
Look, I'm a little cyanide.
But the defense...
Or a black market type deal. Who knows?
It's the 70s, dude.
Yeah.
The fucking 70s were wild.
I know.
Fucking...
Couldn't find anything.
Anything was going on in the 70s. But the defense had their own tactic. They were basically using a fear tactic of dangerous candy, razor blades in apples, and syringes hanging out, and like all the stuff that we heard in the 90s, right. They used that as their defense. Like, oh, you're just blaming this man when it really could have been anybody because people are out to kill our children through candy. I'm going to tell you right now, this is really the only case where it has actually happened. It's not a big thing to find razor blades in your candy.
I think it has happened before, but
not really though. It's more of a scare. Like it's more of a scare tactic.
Because I know that people even put like tacks and razor blades under changing pads on changing tables and bathrooms and stuff to like harm babies. I'm pretty sure I've heard of a...
Yes, but that could also be like scare tactics. Like a lot of this stuff is scare tactics. It's they want you afraid to eat the candy, and then they use it to basically say like this man is not a monster. People are trying to kill our kids every day. Look at the commercials. We had the commercials when we were kids. This happened 20 years before, and that's still happening. Mm-hmm. And I can tell you, I trick-or-treated every year until, senior year. I was probably too old to trick or treat, but free candy. And I never found anything. I get it, it's a small town, but they're saying it can happen anywhere. This was a small town.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
They're using a scare tactic. And obviously, the trial was a media sensation. Mm-hmm. It was on every newspaper, and they dubbed him the Candyman.
Candyman. Okay, yeah, that would be accurate.
Yes. So that's the basic. And have you ever seen like the movie The Candyman? Or just Candyman?
You know, I think I have, but I don't think I have at the same time.
Same. I feel like I've seen it. Like, I know the character in it. And I feel like I've seen bits and pieces of it, but I don't think I've seen it.
It's probably one of those things where it was playing on Sci-Fi all the time.
Yes, it literally was.
We would put it on there and then skip past it.
It literally was. But I don't think like it's connected like to that. So I don't know.
Yeah.
But maybe we'll watch it.
Yeah.
July 3rd of 1975, jury deliberations had started. So it was a very small case.
Okay.
And according to Wikipedia, it only took them 46 minutes to get to a verdict.
Wow.
They were not deadlocked.
No, not at all.
This is not 12 angry jurors. This is, we know what we want to do with this guy.
Which shouldn't be hard. That type of case should just be cut and dry.
You know,
42 minutes is still a long time.
Open and shut. So
for that type of case, like, okay.
Yeah, and obviously, he guilty.
Yeah.
They delivered the verdict, and O'Brien was sentenced to death for the murder of his son, Timothy.
In what state was this in again?
Texas.
So they still have the death penalty, correct?
I believe so, but I'm not 100% sure on that. I know that it's died out a lot, but there are a few states that are still death penalty states. He got his execution stayed or like postponed 3 times.
Ugh.
One of his execution dates was supposed to be on Halloween.
Oh.
They were like, fuck you.
Yeah.
You are going to die the same night that you killed your child.
Yeah.
But his attorney won a stay for that one as well. So
I don't understand.
I don't understand it either.
I don't understand the stay. All it is costing more money to have this person stay longer for no reason.
It's because there are people that are against the death penalty and they're very advocative and they set up these... He was working with those groups, basically. Mm-hmm. And... Finally, I shouldn't say finally, but finally he was executed by lethal injection on March 21st of 1984. So that's like 10 years after the death of his child.
Yeah, you know, I mean...
he sat on death row.
Obviously, there are very good reasons to be against the death penalty because of innocence, and there's a lot of times when innocent people are sitting on death row.
I have my hat in both corners.
Yeah, same here. Because when something is as cut and dry as this, where obviously there's no question of innocence at all, there should be no question. I'm sorry, you're despicable. Not only did you kill your child, you tried to kill one of your other children, and then 3 other strangers' children.
Yep.
Like, no, that's abhorrent, and you're a danger and a threat to society.
I agree.
Because you could still take out life insurance policies on the rest of your family and try to take them out, too. You don't deserve to be on this planet anymore. No. I'm sorry.
And I do believe, like, in debate class, I did the debate on, like, I can't remember if I was pro or against.
Yeah, it's a tough one because...
It was really hard because there are a lot of things that are like, yes, but then there are things that I'm like, oh, no.
Yeah, because like the Green Mile, like that's what I come back to. You don't want some innocent person dying for something that they didn't do. That's the only reason for me to not appreciate the death penalty. Everything else, I don't have sympathy for somebody who can commit such abhorrent. I mean, for the things that we know about the things that people have done and can do and are capable of, it's just no. No. We need to keep our world safe. And there's some people that just won't be.
It's definitely a case-by-case basis, but we need to make sure that we're holding the judicial system accountable. To make things fair and just and hopefully not arrest the wrong person, but who knows?
And I know they say they suffer in prison. But a lot of these people who are in there for life, they create their own groups. They become comfortable. I mean, we've all watched, I know it sounds stupid, but we've all watched TV shows where you see the older folks in there. And they will be, they know how to play the game of prison. They know how to live there comfortably. they've got their buddies, or maybe they don't, but it's not as much of a punishment to me as just not living anymore.
Yeah. You took the life of someone else, especially. Like,
yeah.
You're a murderer.
Right,
like,
exactly.
Why do you get to sit in a jail cell watching TV and playing cards?
Exactly.
Like, yes, you're doing work, and it's not, the best food, and the beds are hard, but still.
But you're alive.
Someone else is dead.
Yeah, and
they don't even get a hard bed. Mm-hmm. They get a cold grave. Mm-hmm. And they're done. Little Timothy is done.
Mm-hmm. I think
he was, 8?
Try again in the next life, buddy. Try better, because you don't deserve to just sit there in prison.
Who knows? I kind of, feel that tortured of a type of soul will keep coming back in a tortured type of way. Even if it's in a different type of tortured way, I feel like it's going to play out in that way.
According to Buddhism and things that I've been following lately, you will be reborn until you reach a higher level of yourself. Every single time you are reborn, you're set to reach a higher level of yourself. And once you reach that capacity, then you get to move on.
You also have to live it in your life. Like, he didn't live it, so he's not going to come back as a better person.
Well, no, he'll come back, start as a baby, and you're starting from nothing again.
Yeah, that's
true. And then you have all your choices make who you are.
Yeah,
and
I get that.
The way you were brought up and stuff. Like, you get another chance at life just to be better this time, and then the next time you be better than the last time. And then,
I just feel like these souls are so tainted.
Because I know that, and it's possible that even in his next life, he will still be a serial killer again, or he'll be a different serial
garbage
killer.
person,
he might be a step up from what he did before, but he's still gonna be a pile.
That's exactly what I said. Yeah, he'll come back. It'll be a different kind of
Then the next time he'll be a little less of shit, and then the next time he'll be a little less shit, and it takes a while.
You never know. By 30, 24, he might be a better soul.
Yeah, exactly.
We don't know.
He'll reach karma.
I did get from New York Times, with executions, you get, their last words.
Oh, yeah.
So, he talked a lot, and I didn't include a lot of it because it was kind of bullshit, sorry, but...
Mm-hmm. He just wanted to ramble to spread out, to milk his time.
Basically. The last words, he basically was talking about how, I'm going to pray for the people who wronged me.
Oh,
I am an innocent man, da-da-da-da. I'm I'm not even going to fucking give that time.
Yeah.
All I'm going to say was his literal last words, according to a New York Times article, which literally is from April 1st, 1984. Mm-hmm. He said, quote, "God bless you all, and may God's best blessings be always yours." End quote.
Not your kids, apparently.
Yeah.
So, fuck you, guy.
So that's my case.
That's my feeling on it. Fuck you, guy.
So do you think he killed Timothy?
Yes, I do. I have no doubt in my mind.
I
knew it was weird from the beginning. And like I said, I have heard this case before, but as soon as you brought up the dark house, I'm like, that's right, this fucking guy. Yeah, you're weird.
The dark house is definitely...
And nobody can prove, nobody was there because everybody wanted away.
Why does he stay back? Why is he staying back?
Oh, I'm just going to wait till they open the door. You don't do that. He was staying back because he was poisoning the pixie sticks.
The pixie sticks were already poisoned. I'm pretty sure they were already on him. He did it. This is 110%. If he 100% did it, this was premeditated as fuck.
Oh, absolutely. Because,
the life
months
insurance
before.
Policies.
Yeah.
Almost a year before.
The talks with his friend about the cyanide.
The summer of 73.
Yeah.
That was a whole year.
Yeah.
Before he took out the life insurance policies.
Right.
So this has been cooking. He's known. He's got the banks knocking at his door. He's freaking out. He's probably back in that time, he probably was keeping the shit from his wife.
Oh, God.
Which, a little bit of woohoo, she left his ass right afterwards.
Good. She should. Take those children away.
And she has, said, I feel no remorse. Or, not remorse, but I feel no sympathy for him. He gets no pity from me. Fuck.
That's her children. She birthed that baby.
And she took that daughter and she freaking ran.
Yeah.
She's like, peace out. I mean, he was
Honestly,
going to prison anyway.
Killed him. I probably would have killed him and poisoned him.
But I don't think...
You killed my child.
She probably didn't know the extent of their financial ruin. Mm-hmm. Men in those times would keep that stuff.
Well, not only that, but women couldn't get stuff in their names a lot of times still at that point. So it wasn't him.
She might have worked. I don't know, that backstory, but he was probably the main he was probably like the main breadwinner. He wasn't good at it. He's not going to tell her. Like, how many times do we watch in a TV show that a man is like faking going to his job because he lost it and he's afraid to tell his wife?
I know. Oh my gosh.
It's like, just tell your freaking wife you lost your job.
It's way better in the end.
Yeah. I'm going to be pissed when you come to me a month later because we can't pay our freaking mortgage.
Yeah, and God forbid we think you're cheating, if anything, because you're not actually going to work.
I'm gonna be a little
but you're
crazy.
Gone the whole day.
I'm gonna be a little crazy too. I'll be like looking at your phone like, what the fuck are you doing every day?
Exactly.
Oh, so that's Halloween.
Well, happy Moth Halloween, yo. I'm excited for our next episode too, and our next episode. I'm excited for every episode ever to come.
So if you guys enjoyed this episode, please join us next Freaky Friday. And until then, follow us on the socials.
Okay.
You can find us on Facebook at
More Than Murder.
Find us on Twitter at
More Than _Murder.
And you can find us on Instagram at
More Than Murder Pod. If
you have any comments or show ideas, or just want to talk to us, we would love to hear from you. Email us at morethanmurderpod@gmail.com. And once again, we just want to wish you a safe and happy Halloween. We hope it is as spooky as ever, even though 2020 is
lame AF.
The worst fucking year ever. But we love you all, and we'll see you next week.
Yay, toodaloo.
Bye.
Bye.